Now that you have your new inflatable board, let's get you out there on the water for your adventure. Your inflatable board comes with various accessories. The board includes a backpack carrying bag, a leash, a 3-piece paddle, a repair kit, a cell phone dry bag, and all sorts of other great features that are integrated into the paddleboard. First things first, load everything you have into your backpack carrying bag after you take it out of the box. You'll notice on the carrying bag that there is a user manual FAQ guide that's in the back panel of your backpack. Keep that handy, and that's a great place to store it when it's not in use. Always use the accessories included with the board, especially the pump. The hand pump is specifically designed to pump up your paddleboard. I don't recommend using an air compressor, as air compressors pump to very high PSIs and may not be giving you an accurate reading. The hand pump can inflate an inflatable paddleboard in just a few minutes, an inflatable surfboard in less than a minute, and even the giant board in 10 minutes or less. Now that you've gotten down to the water, let's take your paddleboard out of the bag. What's important about rolling your paddleboard out for the very first time is to pay attention to where the nose and the tail are and where the valve is. All of the paddleboards and inflatable surfboards have the valve in the back of the board. So if it doesn't roll all the way out, it's okay. The next step will be uncapping the valve. Make sure that when you're uncapping the valve, there is not debris that could get in the valve like mulch or sand or grass or dirt. Always remember to keep your valve cap on your board when not in use. The valve is a two-way valve and a one-way valve, and it's easy to switch between each setting by pushing the center of the valve. As you push it, it switches from two-way to one-way. Two-way is a deflation mode, and that is when the valve is in the down position. One-way is in an inflation mode, and that means as you inflate, the air goes in and doesn't come back out. Put it in the one-way inflation mode, which is when the valve pin is in the up position. Let's take a closer look at your pump. Make sure when you connect your hose to the pump that it's not cross-threaded and it screws into the handle of the pump properly. On the other end of the pump hose are two prongs that are gray in color, and those are what connect to the valve. As you take the tip of the hose and connect it to the board, turn it counterclockwise half of a turn, then put it into the valve and turn it back. This will help to keep from unscrewing the other end of the hose from the pump handle. So if you screw it in and the pump handle seems to leak, that's just because you've slightly unscrewed the hose from the pump handle. Now that you've connected the hose to the board, take a close look at your gauge. Your gauge is right on top of the pump. Your gauge will not take a reading until your board is fully inflated and has taken shape and is starting to be firm to the touch. And when I say firm, almost feeling hard. You'll notice on the side of the pump a little yellow valve. That yellow valve has a 2 on top of it, and if you rotate it, it can also have a 1. For inflation from the beginning and to inflate your paddleboard quickly, make sure to have it in double action mode. That means air will go in your board on the downstroke and the upstroke. As you're pumping up your board and it takes shape and it starts to get a little harder to pump, we've designed this pump to switch to a single action mode. And what you need to do is rotate that valve to the 1, and that's only inflating on the downstroke, which is much easier than inflating on a pulling upward stroke. This will help to get it to that higher PSI. If you feel like your board is firm and doesn't need any more air, make sure to take a look at that pressure gauge. It is calibrated to be accurate, and you want to pump that paddleboard until the pressure gauge reaches 15 PSI. Now that you've gotten to 15 PSI, you're gonna reach down and unscrew the pump hose. If you unscrew the pump hose and air rushes out of the board, quickly push the center button on the center of the valve. That means you're pumping up the board in the deflation position, which is possible, but the air won't stay in the board. Make sure to push that. Now reconnect your hose and pump it up to make sure it's still at 15 PSI. Your 3-piece paddle has mechanisms for attaching each of the pieces. If one of the pieces, especially the stainless steel button that comes out of the shaft, is stuck, you can carefully push on that with a screwdriver, a knife, a pair of keys to make that button pop back out. It's very easy to fix, and it's great to wash off your paddle after every use, especially if you've been in salt water and sand. Quick note about your paddle. Always hold your paddle with your hand on the T-grip, unless you're paddling in the kneeling position. And secondly, always be using the appropriate side of the paddle face. The appropriate side of the paddle face for paddling in a forward stroke is using the side of the blade that has the Body Glove hand logo, and that should be facing back towards you. Even when taking a backstroke, make sure to keep that logo facing you. And that will make sense because the handle is ergonomically shaped and will fit your hand even better that way. Now that you're almost ready to go, don't forget water. All Body Glove paddleboards and kayaks come equipped with a water bottle holder. It's right there on the center handle. It's made out of neoprene and wraps around a water bottle. So now undo the Velcro, unroll the neoprene, place your water bottle flat on the board, and wrap the neoprene around the water bottle and it'll Velcro securely. By doing this, it keeps your water bottle from getting away from you while you're out there on the water and having fun. If you're not using that center handle as a water bottle holder, it can also hold your paddle. This is a great feature for walking to the water and holding your paddle and your board all in one hand. So you undo the Velcro, take it around the paddle shaft and close it, and now you're holding onto the handle and the paddle shaft. This is even a good thing for on the water, because let's say you want to go swimming or fishing and hanging on the board or just sitting there and kicking your feet. You can put your paddle in the center handle and you know it's securely there and won't go anywhere or float away. This is the moment you've been waiting for. Standing up, getting your balance, seeing if you can do it. Everyone can paddleboard, so don't worry. Always wear a life jacket so if you fall in, you can laugh, cool off, hop back on and try it again. Make sure you're in deeper water and you're not falling in shallow water just in case you fall in. The first step to standing up is placing your paddle in front of you and holding onto your paddle in the kneeling position with your hands also on the board. With your hands planted, look up with your head and place your feet under you. Your feet should have a wide stance on either side of the center handle. This is the center of the board and the best place to be standing. Now, quickly stand up, nice and tall, chest out, and get your balance. Make sure not to take a step. You take a step right now, more than likely that board's gonna slide out from under you and you're gonna fall in. Practice paddling with a backward stroke as far out as you can and spin yourself in a 360. Try it both directions. Do it with a forward stroke and notice the difference standing. If you want to go places, you need to do an effective forward stroke. And that means bending at the waist and reaching forward with your arms as straight as possible and taking a stroke right down the edge of the board. That first stroke might make you turn a little bit. So be prepared to take another stroke on the opposite side. Every time you switch sides, make sure to hold the paddle properly and have your hand on the T-grip. Make sure the spacing in your grip reflects having your hands and arms at a 90-degree angle to your shoulders. So it should feel about like this. Keep in mind that you're going to have to switch sides periodically. This might be on every stroke, and as you get better, it might be every other stroke. And then you'll be doing 3 or 4 on either side before switching. So if you haven't fallen in yet and your knees are shaking a little bit, I would say the best thing you can do is jump in, have fun, laugh, go swimming. Don't worry about falling in, just fall in. Challenge yourself to fall in, and then every time you get back on, it'll make you relax your muscles and relax your mind and not worry about the little things of falling in and getting wet. Try standing on the board and slowly getting to having your feet on the center line of the board. Now inch your way to the back of the board so all your weight is right there on the tail of the board and the nose is pointed up at the sky. This is called doing a pivot turn. And you can actually put your paddle in the water now and turn yourself into a full 360. This is a great challenge and will more than likely get you to fall in. If not, just run around on the board a little bit more and challenge your balance. The most important thing to do is challenge your balance when paddleboarding so that standing on the board and paddling is actually the easiest thing. When it comes to paddling with friends and family and kids, make sure everyone is wearing a life jacket. Make sure everyone can get back to the paddleboard that they're on. If you're paddling with kids on your own board, make sure that they're positioned just in front of the carrying handle and you're positioned right behind them. Make sure they have shoes on, a life preserver or personal flotation device, and make sure that you've practiced paddling on your knees with them and paddling standing, and you're not going to fall on them or around them. If you're paddling with someone else and you lose your balance, it's best just to jump off to not risk falling on the person, or even your dog if your dog comes with you on your paddleboard. Paddleboarding is one of the safest and most enjoyable sports to do with other people. Make sure you do it with all the safety precautions taken. Take a look at your environment. Take a look at what's going to happen in a few hours. Make sure to wear the necessary safety devices. For more information about stand-up paddling, visit bodyglove.com.